What is up, guys? So today on the channel I'm going to be talking about and showing information in regards to building the perfect Kitsune combo. Now a lot of you understand there is a big thing going around. It is called the the Kitsune C spam. It's whenever the player using Kitsune that you're fighting just runs around and does this. As you see, that is 6,000 damage. That is a lot for a one shot, and it's even stronger when they're transformed. So this is one thing you should take into account whenever you are wanting to build a good build, is both this C move is a really powerful thing, but as you see, it does have a decently fast cooldown. I would not recommend spamming this. It is not completely reliable, but there are just multiple different parts you can bring into understandment when it comes to a good combo. So like my main combo uses Sanguine Art, but I'll show you while I'm using God Human, I guess. I go in with this move, this one, and then whenever they're stuck in that weird gear thing, I'll hit them with this, something like this, do that, and then something else. But that is somewhat reliable. If they do have their shark turned on, if they are shark or they have a race awakening, this will not one tap them. If you add in all of your fighting styles, this will be a one tap combo. How does this work? How does this attack work? So there are a couple stages to this. The first one, the accursed enchant. The way this one works is if you either hit on the opponent when you hit them or you hit next to them, what it does is if you hit them directly, these orbs will shoot off of them with the Sanguine one, and it will allow you to hit them, especially if they're running. So if they're running, they get out of your combo. That'll keep them a bit longer from healing. And so what does the next version of it do? So the next one is if you don't directly hit the person, it has a little splash effect like that. It doesn't do as much damage, but it does still do damage. And so the next move I use is the Tales of Burning Agony. What this does is it drags him in and then deals, like, as you see, about 4,000 damage. It's not the strongest move. This fruit, though, Kitsune overall, is kind of broken, especially with an M1. I have been stuck in the M1 because, as you see, it does have a bit of a stun. Does not mean you can rely on it. Like I said, with the C spamming, it's not reliable, but it is still a really good thing to consider whenever you're doing this. And then we have the Foxfire Disruption. Pretty much what this one does, as you saw before, is just a really, there's no charge to it, but it's just a really big explosion. And it does like over 6,000 damage in one shot. It's kind of strong. There's a lot of moves to this that are just really strong in general. The Wild Assault is more of a mobility, like most F moves on fruits. I don't really consider using it, but it is pretty good, because then you could base your entire combo off of this, like something like that. See, 10,000 damage, still burning. You could hit him with like this or something. There's just a lot of things to consider whenever you're building up a good combo, especially with the Kitsune. I know the Kitsune was on stock a couple days ago, so that's probably why you've seen a lot of people with it that don't actually own it. But it was on stock. If you didn't miss that, I made a funny video on it. But there was just a lot of things in consideration to the Kitsune fruit. That's why there's probably a lot more people using it. There's also a lot more kids spending way too much money on this game, like how I did, to buy a freaking $40 in-game item. But so then we have the Wild Assault, which is, yeah, like I said, a bit of a mobility. There's no charge to it. It does look kind of goofily off, but whenever you let go, about 3,400 damage. Take into consideration I still have 15 more levels. I will be grinding to max with this fruit just so I can give you the full details of its capabilities. But there is a lot more capabilities to this fruit if you've maxed it. Just like your entire build will always be a bit stronger if you have maxed it. Okay, so that is the first move set. Now the next thing we have is the transformation. This is a really cool animation, and if you are using the pilot's cap like me, that's why it moves kind of fast. Really good in my opinion for running away. Don't mean you should, but you can run away. So now we have the M1. Look, that is what captures me in an attack. The fact that it does so much damage. So look, one set of the M1, almost 1,100 damage. Ah, wait, is it? Almost. It probably is if it's max. Almost 1,100 damage. 1,100. Now, I'm no expert, but I'm pretty sure you don't have that much health waiting to be snatched away by one not even move set. But that is a lot of damage. So now this brings us to the actual moveset itself. So whenever you're considering what you want to do with this fruit, if you're going to fight with this fruit transformed, you can. The moves, just like I showed, are a lot stronger. There's a lot more potential to them. Does not mean there's a lot more combo potential, but there is very much a lot more spam potential. Now what this means is you can use this to just pretty much spam. You can use the Foxfire Disruption to spam, like a lot of people accuse you of. Like that, as you see, that one does 700 more than the untransformed. Probably less if the person has like awakenings or something. It also, yeah, that burning effect is really good because then that keeps them from healing for a moment. But so let's just go over the skill set right away so we can get into the next segment, which is your actual build. So the first thing I want to go over is the accursed enchant. Just like untransformed, there are multiple forms of this PvP attack. The first one is the accursed enchant. This can hit up to 3 people at once. So if I can gather up 3 people, you can hit all 3 of them at once. I'll just do these 2. You'll shoot into them. You'll push them over and you hit them with an explosion. This will allow you to hit multiple, like fight multiple people at once. It is completely doable. But if you've seen my combos, I don't entirely like using Transform Kitsune. Its mobility is there, but I don't entirely like it just because of not being able to use any other move like your fighting style. Because I use Sanguine for the blood drain. The blood drain, by the way, Sanguine blood drain is low-key super broken, underrated. Like God Human is mostly used when it comes to PvP. It is hard to obtain, but I don't think it's as hard to obtain. But it is still not as near as close as how broken Sanguine truly is. But so that just like with the untransformed, there are multiple different ways that the accursed enchant can be affected in PvP. So if you hit them, it'll shoot them out, it'll catch them, does about 5,500 damage if you haven't maxed out. And then the next form of it is if you don't hit them, and it has a huge area of effect, just like with the transformed, it has a huge area effect. Like, if you miss that shot, then you'll probably hit them with that. The one thing, though, is it does work in the air. It's just, it explodes in the direction you're shooting. So if you're, say, chasing someone, they're flat, and you shoot up to them, you're not probably going to hit them just because it's kind of hard to aim it. That's why I do prefer to use untransformed, because its range is probably better. But then you can also, like, shoot down into someone like that. Now, the next move is the Tales of Burning Agony. This is a bit different from the untransformed version. So the untransformed puts like a gear on it, as you saw. But so what this one does is you grab them and you slam them into the ground. This actually, if you're fighting over sea, this is broken. If you're fighting over sea, because it glitches them in the water, causing them to like immediately take like stupid amount of freaking damage. Also has this really cool area effect. I don't know if that causes burning, but yeah, so if you're fighting someone over water, it's like really overpowered because it'll drag them out into the water and then like drown them. Now the next move is the Foxfire Disruption. As you've probably already can tell, this is the strongest attack in the entire thing. Like, look at that. That is a lot of damage. Now we have Wild Assault. What the Wild Assault does, once again, is sort of like untransformed. There's a bit of a difference to it, though. So you'll find your target. You shoot into them. You have this burning effect from wherever you shot. Then they catch on fire, and they'll progressively burn. This is not the best when it comes to mobility because it will, like, stun yourself, and it's kind of hard to hit. A lot of these moves in general aren't the best to use. This, just because they're really strong does not mean they are the best to use transformed. Okay, so now we will move on to the combo potential and the build you should be using whenever you're doing this. So now, pretty much what this would be about is what your build is. So say your fighting style, sword, gun, and then your fruit, that's your build. So whatever you're using in PvP, that is your build. So whenever you're looking into your build and compatibility with this, I would recommend a high mobility or high ranged fighting style or a sword to accompany for that. So like CDK is really good for that mobility, to cover the mobility part. God Human, all of its moves are ranged, allowing you to continuously move the target. They have a relatively fast cooldown. I don't prefer this. Like I said before, I prefer to use Sanguine just because Sanguine has that big life-stealing effect that keeps you constantly fighting, especially when you're fighting multiple people. Like I have literally done, I think it was literally a 1v9. I fought 9 people at once and I killed every single one of them. It was low-key crazy. All because I was relying on the blood drain effect. As you saw, that was a bit of a combo. Now, this is when you would want to start to look into either your sword or your fighting style. So the fighting style is a very most important, because if you're using your fighting style, that'll always have max stats, unless you're an idiot and don't put max stats into your, melee. But so what we're going to look into is the best fighting style to use for this build. So if you're over at the third C, to get your fighting styles, if you have already obtained all the fighting styles, I'm assuming if you have God Human, you should already have all the fighting styles. So you want to come over to the castle at the C. And this is pretty much where every fighting style that is not unlocked in the third C is held. So if it's in the first C and the second C, it'll be over here. So this is where you get the Superhuman. This is Dragon Breath. These are two of the Dark Step and Death Step. This is Electric Fighting Style. This is Water Kung Fu, and this is Shark Kung Fu. So now to get those ones, most of those have somewhat of a mobility. I swear though, if you're out here using freaking Death Step, you are either the best person at PvP ever, or you are the dumbest person at PvP ever. That is just up to you. So whenever I come to use PvP, if I'm not using Sanguine, I'm using God Human, because God Human is the second best, I would say. God Human's the first best when it comes to PvP, second best when it comes to overall, because God Human isn't as good as Sanguine. Sanguine has a lot of damage it can deal. And now let's move on to your gun. So now your gun is a very big thing. So you're going to head on over to items. You're going to come up down to under your sword. This is when you'll see all your guns. I have not upgraded my gun. Don't bother that. I don't grind that much. So now there is a lot more guns. I'll have a list on screen of all the guns in the game. And these, pretty much all these guns have different things. Some of these are mostly unlocked in the second and third. See, the Soul Guitar is pretty much the best gun in the game because, it is. You have that one. This has some of the highest stun abilities. So, like, if you're ever out fighting and you see this, that's the Soul Guitar. It's really strong. Like, look at that, 590 damage. Then we have this move on it. If you can land that is a really good stun. Each of these moves do quite in fact completely remove instinct. So if you're fighting someone, it stuns them, picks them up, and their instinct will be removed. It's kind of good. Most people use it. I don't know why you wouldn't use it. I have an old tutorial for that. It low-key sucks though, because my editing style is just not there. So I'm going to redo the tutorial for, how to get that. But also, yeah, on the topic of that tutorial, if you have any other tutorials y'all would love to see, you can just comment down below, or join my Discord server, which will be linked in the description. And I'll have all the tutorials and links you'll need if you're in my Discord server. And plus, that'll help with direct communication with me, which is honestly preferred. Because then you can just like all the kids on my server just at me in the Discord server, and I'll be able to get to your question a lot faster than I will if you comment. Okay, now the next thing we're moving on to is your sword in your build. So as you see, I use the CDK. Not max stats yet, but I have max on the Dark Blade. There's a lot of other. There's a Dark Blade V2, by the way. If y'all want a tutorial on how to get Dark Blade V3, just comment down below. I'll get Dark Blade V3, and I'll also show you how to get it. But yeah, you can pick whatever sword you want. Use Rengoku if you're really the top G. That one probably has some of the coolest animations by far. Spiky Trident's another one I've seen a lot. So the Spiky Trident, if you want a tutorial on how to get this one, I'm currently working on one, which will soon be on my website's homepage. There isn't no direction to it, but it's really good with stunning. It's a really mid weapon overall. But there's also a lot of other ones, like, say, the Dragon Trident. There's a lot of other weapons you should take into consideration when you're wanting to build your combos. There's just a lot of other cool swords you can use. I use this one just because it's literally the best in the game. If you want a tutorial on how to get this, that'll be linked in the description. I have a video on that. It's really good, really helpful. It seems to help a lot of people. But so now, once all this stuff comes into consideration, you now can start to build your actual combo itself. So my combo, I'm going to quickly TP over to Tiki and change my fighting style just so I can show you my combo. I really prefer this. I have a short on how to do this. Kitsune and Sanguine, they both have somewhat high stun rate. They need to honestly buff this. This one low-key does not have the range. Okay, so but what my combo is I do Kitsune Z. So I hit them with that thing first, and X, which catches them. So first, though, you have to get rid of their hockey, so I usually do that with Soul Guitar. C, X, and then C. And then after I hit them with C, then I quickly switch over to Sanguine. And then I do C. And then that pulls them in, and I hit them with Z, right? And then once they start to move away, then I hit them with X. Yeah, I'll just do it right here. Watch. So it goes like this. And then whenever they go away, I hit them with that. So then by the time you get through it, you have the Z from Kitsune and the C from Devour the Worlds and Sanguine stack up and hit them, and that's about 6,000 damage, just like that. 6 to 7,000 just from those two moves alone. Just gonna test that. So that shoots off, that shoots off. Yeah, you get a couple thousand. That's pretty much my combo. So I have seen a couple of ways you can build only like a almost one tap combo with just the Kitsune. So you do this, and then you hit them with this, and while they're in there, locate them, and then you hit them with F. I'd have to practice with that a bit, but it is really good. But overall, there's just a lot of things you should take into consideration when you are building up the perfect Kitsune combo. And overall, there's just a lot of different fruits in the game. You should try working through different fruits before you limit yourself to just Kitsune. But that is pretty much it for the video. If there's any other things you'd like me to go over regarding this tutorial, join my Discord server and I can sort this out with you, even over a call if you would like that. If there's any other fruit or fighting style, or just in general, just another fruit that you'd like me to build a combo for you, you can join my Discord server or comment down below. And I can work on a combo video and a PvP type thing. But that is pretty much it for the video. Thank you so much for watching, and peace.